In 2004, Marianne and I decided to produce a patient conference on Long Island, New York. Good information. It was just hard to find regarding the diagnosis and treatment of NETs. And patients could get better care if they knew what was available. Simple as that. Dr. Tom O'Dorisio, who's here today, came out on a November weekend and did a fantastic presentation, and the patients had a great experience. We just didn't realize up until then how urgent it was for patients everywhere to be able to meet the experts and hear what they had to say in person. And Mitch Berger's little slogan here, it's as true today as it was back then, and we continue to produce conferences. Hopefully we're helping. Today's seminar is possible thanks to the generous sponsorship of the InterScience Institute. NET patients are fortunate to have a company like ISI support these type of events. Since 2004, ISI has really emphasized research and development in the area of NETs. With their GI Council, they publish a very extensive handbook, which everyone who got a bag got a copy of it. And we truly, truly appreciate their efforts. Oh, I moved the slide and I didn't even know. As I mentioned earlier, CCAN's been producing patient conferences since 2004. These conferences have been held in many diverse locations. Some opportunities we get through networking with patients. This particular conference, Dr. Bill Hawks, who's a NET patient, who was a NET patient, and he was affiliated with the University of Michigan Medical Center. He introduced us to their staff at the CME department, and we were able to actually book a conference at the medical center's amphitheater. This is Dr. Hawks with Marianne and Mia Tepper from ISI. And I decided to let you see, this is a great amphitheater, but the whole thing had these really bright green chairs, so that's totally insignificant, but I just wanted to show you. We don't often get to book a medical center's amphitheater. In this one, we're in Pasadena at a Hilton Hotel. Dr. Odo didn't make it to that one, but there's always a familiar face in the crowd. Here he comes. There's Dr. Waltering. And the reason is that we always have, no matter what the venue, true experts in the field of neuroendocrine tumors. The information that these experts share is invaluable to the treatment of your disease, so we hope you get a lot out of today's program. Well, as you know, it does cost money to produce these conferences. We don't talk about it all that much, but since the beginning, one of our hallmark events at CCAN is the annual dinner dance fundraiser. The first dinner dance back in '04 raised just enough money to pay for the conference that I just spoke about, which was the next day. So I'm not sure that the Marriott would have been thrilled to know exactly what our budget was at that time, but we did make our bills, and that's what's important. We're very focused at CCAN on what we're trying to achieve. That's very basic. We just want to make care providers and patients aware of NETs. We want to help support groups provide their members with information about the disease, and we want to raise funds for carcinoid and NET cancer research. We do that through activities like sharing information and literature via mail, email, phone, or website. Our phone line is open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every single day of the year, and Marianne, wherever she is generally the one who answers it, and I'm her backup. So you always get somebody who knows at least a little bit about what the patient is going through. We also represent NET patients through booths at trade shows. We believe that's important as well, that people get to see patient groups at these trade shows. We've asked the government as well to help people be aware of net cancer. New York, which is where we're from, is one of a handful of states to proclaim a Carcinoid Cancer Awareness Month. With a little work, though, I think NET patients can have one proclaimed in every state. There's also a global awareness initiative. It's going to happen a little later on this year. We'll share some information about that a little bit later on in the program. We do contribute as possible to worthy research programs and hope to continue to do that as well. Okay, has anybody not heard the zebra story? Oh, okay, we do have one. That's okay. That's okay. It's our battle cry, so we need to know that. In medical school, doctors are taught when hearing hoofbeats, think of horses, not zebras. So since carcinoid and other nets are relatively rare, we like to think of ourselves as zebras. But don't let that fool you. I think there are more nets around than people believe. It's not as rare as people think. And our pledge is to continue working as we do until there's a cure for this disease. How about you? If you think you can't help, just keep this quote in mind. I think it's very poignant. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So later on, we'll share a few ideas on how to get involved in the advocacy. Excuse me. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about what we do. We're just a small part of the story, and we have many friends and allies in the fight against neuroendocrine and carcinoid cancer. We want to acknowledge CACS, ISI, NANETS, Carcinoid Cancer Foundation, all the local support groups, other advocacy groups, our doctors, commercial interests. There are a lot of people involved, pharmaceutical companies, labs, etc., for their hard work and dedication. Together, we make a difference. Here are the takeaway points for today's meeting. You should get a basic knowledge of nets and resources for your own research. Know what questions to ask your doctors. Understand the importance of being involved in decisions regarding your care and how the treatment of NET and the many options regarding the treatment of NETs. Options that you really won't hear about if you don't speak to a NET expert, an expert physician. Well, if you're looking at a list of NET experts, these gentlemen are sure to be on it. Today we'll be hearing from Dr. Eugene A. Waltering, the James D. Reeves Professor of Surgery and Neurosciences at LSU, Dr. Aaron I. Vinnick, Professor of Medicine, Pathology, and Neurobiology at Eastern Virginia Medical School, Dr. Thomas Odorisio, Professor of Medicine at University of Iowa, and Dr. Bill Goh, Professor of Medicine at UCLA and the Director of the UCLA Center for Excellence in Pancreatic Diseases on the treatment and care of NETs. We'll also have Paris Mamikunian discuss the science behind the tests. Paris is from ISI. All of these gentlemen have years of clinical and research experience.